Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Nice to see everybody. Hope you're in good health. Beautiful day here in Maine. Sunny, a few clouds, but really nice out. And temperatures like 71 degrees is great, great temperature. And a lot of people around. I guess, we've had a number of concerts here. I don't really keep up with the concerts because, it's not my thing. Like I said, excuse me, like I said before, the videos, live concerts are like, I'm sorry, I don't care who the band is. If you're playing outside on a stage, the sound is terrible. Okay, I don't care how good the band is, all right? It never sounds as good as when it's been recorded in a studio and filtered and everything. That's the way I want to hear my music. I don't like going to live concerts. And plus, you're elbowed asshole at these damn things of people stepping on your feet, jumping up and down, and I just, it's too raucous for my taste, Besides, I can hear the music just fine. Because the sound travels down the river like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's like I'm almost there listening to it. I'm surprised more people don't complain about it, but I guess, some people would just understand that if you live by the river, sound travels even further, so. But anyway, the last couple days watching the DNC convention has been quite a treat, I'll tell you that right now. I know some people were bitching about the coverage of it because of the pundits and news anchors who were, interrupting and analyzing every little detail of things that were going on and, speculating on what they need to say in the speech, and then after the speech is given, saying what they should have said in the speech. You know what I'm saying? I said, look, go on YouTube, the AP live feed. No pundits, no interruptions, no commercials. It's just a live stream. That's all it is. You're not going to get all that NBC, ABC, CBS bullshit with anchors trying to monopolize the event. Because I'll tell you, the first day, Monday, when I watched it, the first hour watching the convention, NBC kept interrupting with Trump making, breaking news, Trump this, breaking news, Trump that. They kept interrupting with that. And I'm thinking, you know what Trump's doing? He's out there making all kinds of fucking noise just to draw attention away from the convention. So you know what I did? I said, fuck you, NBC. I went over to the AP and I watched it there live, no interruptions, no commercial breaks, no people there wanting to shoehorn their opinions into anything. I want my own opinions. I don't want someone feeding them to me. So that's the way I've been watching it. And it's been great. It's been great. It's like almost being there with the people. I wish I was there because I'm sure that for a lot of you out there, you've been feeling pretty hopeless, about the idea of Trump possibly getting back in there. I know I did at the beginning of this year. Okay, I know I did, but these rallies that the Democrats have had, and now the convention has, and it's really changed, how I feel now about this November. I really think that we have a good chance of Kamala getting in there as president this time. I think that's really what's going to happen. Aside from that, about gaining back the control of the Senate and Congress, I don't know about that. Okay, because so many different elections going on with that. Okay, so I really don't know. I really don't know if the Democrats are going to have that. My concern really is after the election, after Kamala has won. What are the Republicans, what's MAGA going to do? We already know what they're going to do. I think I discussed that earlier. They got people out there right now who are positioned to not certify election results in various counties and various states. Okay. However, on the Democrat side, they're expecting that. They've been expecting that, since the beginning of the campaign. They know what the MAGAs are up to. Okay, they predicted that. So they've got lawyers on standby, ready to hit the ground running. The minute somebody starts saying, I'm not certifying it, they're going to go there and figure out why you're not certifying it. If the answers they get aren't logical and appealing, they'll be replaced. So you're out of here. You're fired. Put another person in that, and let's get this thing going. That's what's going to happen. And if they try to balk at that, well, guess what? We're going to court. Because you can't prove any reason why you want to stop the certification. You're just doing it because you're a fucking MAGA supporter and you don't want Trump to lose. So this is the way it's going to be, and I think it'll hold up the works, for a bit, as these different areas battle it out over certifying these counts. Okay. But like I said, it's not a fight that they're going to be able to win, okay? Because they just, these people who certify, they're not like very important people for one thing, and they're just there to do one job, and that's it, okay? And if these people that they select to do this are in this just so they can, fuck up the works for Kamala, it's going to come out. And who's not going to want to have them, fired? They might even be prosecuted and have to pay a penalty or of maybe prison time or something, because that's election interference. So they're looking. If they want to make their lives a living hell for this man, this guy, this fucking orange idiot, if they want to do this, go right ahead and do it. I dare you. All right. But just keep in mind that if you do it, unless you got a lot of money and you got a lot of lawyers to fight this thing out, Trump's not gonna fucking stand up for you. You're gonna end up, paying the price, like so many others have already paid the price for him. There's people right now in prison for what they did on January 6th. You want to go in there and share a cell with them? March right in there. Okay, they got a bed waiting for you in there. So, like I said, it's just it's going to be, that's the part that I'm dreading there as this election ends in November. It's the aftermath, okay? And that's kind of what Trump did the last time, right? When he lost the election for president, his second term, it was the aftermath of it that he tried to undo. Okay. Yeah, he got people killed. He got a lot of people in trouble legally. He got himself in trouble. Okay, and it didn't work. But he's going to try it again, because the dingbat is a dummy. You know what I'm saying? They say a person that keeps doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, that's a sign of insanity. You know what I'm saying? So he's crazy. So I don't know. That's my concern, and I think it's a concern of a lot of people right now, but they don't want to talk about it because they just want to see Kamala get the votes, get elected. Okay, they want to see her win, and right now, people talking about what the Republicans are, the underhanded thing they're going to do after the election. It sucks the air out of the fucking room. Okay, nobody wants to hear that. We'll deal with it when we get to it. Okay, but trust me, the Democrat Party has already already played out this scenario here, because they know what they're going to do. They know it's a guarantee that they're going to try and stop the certification of the victory. Okay, that's what they're going to do. And unless Trump wins, of course, then nobody's got a reason to do it. But if he loses, you're goddamn right they're going to fight it. Okay, and that's where they're going to start, right there. Okay, and believe me, what Trump in the background, he's going to run his mouth forever about that. They cheated me twice, never in the history of the world has this ever, you know what I'm saying? That's just gonna be a shtick. Again, the same old shit. I mean, this guy's stuck in a rut like you wouldn't believe. It's like a goddamn record that's caught in a groove and it just keeps, you know, Jesus. So anyway, that's going on, and here's something that's been going on here today. Ukraine has attacked Moscow in one of the largest ever drone strikes on the Russian capital. And this is from, where's this from? Reuters, okay. Ukraine attacked Moscow on Wednesday with at least 11 drones that were shot down by air defense in what Russian officials called one of the biggest drone strikes on the capital since the war in Ukraine began. The war, largely a grinding artillery and drone battle across the fields, forests, and villages of eastern Ukraine, escalated on August 6 when Ukraine sent thousands of soldiers over the border into Russia's western Kursk region. For months, Ukraine has also fought an increasingly damaging drone war against the refineries and airfields of Russia, the world's second largest oil exporter. Though major drone attacks on the Moscow region with a population of over 21 million have been rarer. Russia's defense ministry said its air defenses destroyed a total of 45 drones over Russian territory, including 11 over the Moscow region, 23 over the border region of Bryansk, 6 over the Belgorod region, 3 over the Kaluga region, and 2 over the Kursk region. Some of the drones were shot down over the city of Podolsk, Moscow. Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said the city in the Moscow region is some 38 kilometers, which is 24 miles south of the Kremlin. Quote, "This is one of the largest attempts to attack Moscow using drones ever," unquote. Sobyanin said on the Telegram messaging app in the early hours of Wednesday. Quote, "The layered defense of Moscow that was created made it possible to successfully repel all the attacks from the enemy's UAVs," unquote. Along Moscow's boulevards, the cafes, restaurants, and shops of the capital, which has been carefully insulated from the war, were crowded with little sign of concern, while President Vladimir Putin met Chinese Premier Li Qiang in the Kremlin. 2 Russian citizens who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity said the foiled drone attack simply showed how well defended Moscow now was, and that Ukraine was playing with fire by attacking Russia both in Kursk and in Moscow. Russia, meanwhile, is advancing in eastern Ukraine, where it controls about 18% of the territory, and battling to repel Ukraine's incursion into the Kursk region, the biggest foreign attack on Russian territory since World War II. Russian media showed unverified footage of drones whirring over the dawn sky of the Moscow region and then being shot down in a ball of flame by air defense. Moscow's airports, Vnukovo, Domodedovo, and Zhukovsky, limited flights for hours, but restarted normal operations at 0330 GMT, Russia's aviation watchdog said. Sobyanin said that according to preliminary information, there were no injuries or damage reported in the aftermath of the attacks. There were also no casualties or damage reported following the attack on Bryansk in Russia's southwest. The governor of the region, Alexander Bogomaz, wrote on Telegram. Russia's RIA state news agency reported that 2 drones were destroyed over the Tula region, which borders the Moscow region to its north. Vasily Golubev, governor of the Rostov region in Russia's southwest, said air defense forces destroyed a Ukraine-launched missile over the region with no injuries reported. The Russian Defense Ministry did not mention either Tula or Rostov in its statement listing destroyed Ukrainian air weapons. Ukraine's military said on Wednesday it overnight struck an S-300 anti-aircraft missile system based in the Rostov region. Reuters could not independently verify that report. The drone attack on Moscow was on a par with a May 2023 attack when at least 8 drones were destroyed over the capital, a strike Putin said was a Ukrainian attempt to scare and provoke Russia. In Kursk, Russian war bloggers said intense battles were ongoing along the front in the region where Ukraine has carved out at least 450 square kilometers, that's 175 square miles to us, of Russian territory. All right. So I find it weird that this, this going on, where Russia is in Ukraine, advancing in Ukraine, and Ukraine is in Russia, advancing towards Moscow. It reminds me of this friggin' video game that's you can get on your phone, where you got people that are marching to take over a territory, and then you got people in that territory marching to take over this one, and you got this, it looks like ants going in a circle trying to conquer all the territories. One of these teams have got to conquer everybody, and to do so you got to keep people in one spot to defend what's coming, and you got to also send people to the other spot to remove what's there. I mean, I know it's not really something to joke about, but it just seems to me like I would think that for Ukraine they should just wait till they push all the Russians out before advancing into Moscow. I'm not really sure why they're pushing the envelope so far right now while they're still got Russians inside Ukraine. Maybe they're thinking that if they hit the heart of Russia, that would stop Putin or make him change his mind and he'll withdraw the troops. Maybe. But he's going to have to, Zelensky's going to have to send more than fucking drones. I can tell you that right now, because that's not going to convince Putin of anything. It might be the largest drone attack, but it's still drones. Okay, how much damage could they do? They said they shot them all down. Whether or not that's true that they got them all, I don't know. I mean, Russian news coming out of there is going to be slanted. Okay, and they're certainly not going to let just anybody tell the truth about what really happened over there. But I think the only way really is if Ukraine sends airstrikes, actual jets in there. I don't know. I mean, they might be able to do a lot more damage that way, because they carry heavier weapons for one thing, and they certainly can rattle the cages a lot more than drone strikes. But I don't know. It's just a very odd thing that before you go and put a hole in someone else's boat, you really need to seal the hole in yours before you you know what I'm saying? And so it's really kind of weird how this is playing out here logistically. I don't know. Maybe Zelensky has got an idea. He's trying to play out. Maybe his military has a plan behind this to, like I said, maybe rattle Putin at in Moscow. A lot of people have speculated that Putin isn't even in Moscow most of the time, that he's someplace else where it's safer. That's probably true. Dictators are always like that. They go flee somewhere, while their citizens are taking all the hits. I think that's kind of what Saddam did, right, during the during the Gulf War. He hid in a bunker while Iraq was being hammered in Baghdad. So that's probably what he's doing. I feel bad, okay, for the Russian people. Though there's a lot of Russian people who don't want this war to go on, and a lot of these, and then there's people in Russia who are getting information from some pretty bad sources over there, thinking that Russia is on the defense, and that this war had nothing to do with Putin. Okay, But you know, some information manages to get in, I guess, from some places, despite Putin's efforts to, you know, basically put up an iron wall around his country so nothing comes in or out, news-wise anyway. But like I said, it's just I was reading that, and when I saw that part where, you know, Ukraine is dealing with Russians in their country, and now Russia's dealing with Ukrainians in their country, and it's like they're, you know, it's like, well, somebody has got to shore up the border, right? I mean, that's why I was saying what Zelensky should have done is just bring all the armaments at the border and just hold the line, basically. Hold the fucking line. Anything that tries to come across that line gets shot down, you know, no matter what it is. Hold the fucking line. And then when the other side is unable to get through because of the fortification of the border, then you can send in, if you want, to go into Moscow and all that, and push the pressure button on them, where they're going to end up having to withdraw forces from the border to defend their own capital. Okay, instead of letting, you know, because what they'll do is they'll just push even harder into Ukraine to go after Kiev. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, it seems to me like it's sort of kind of a stalemate setup. Neither side is really getting an advantage here, and I think, you know, what they really should do is not get with Ukraine is not to get overzealous by thinking you can, you know, discourage Putin from continuing this war by hitting Moscow. I think what they need to do is just defend the border, stay on the border, and then later you might have a better chance of being able to send forces in there, because as you stay on the border, and they keep putting resources there to try to break through your lines, they're wasting time, they're wasting resources, they're weakening themselves in the process of trying to punch through. Okay, then when they're weak enough, then you can go in there with your drones and all this other stuff, you know, then you might be able to do a lot more damage that way. So I don't know. It's I didn't think the war would go on as long as it did, but I was right from the very start about them having aircraft early on to protect their Ukraine's airspace. They needed that right off, but it took a whole year before they finally realized that, yes, we need to give them jets. Okay, we need to give them jets. But, you know, the rest of the free world is slow to move on things like that. You know, I don't know. It's because there's so much entailed in international, you know, laws and stuff like that. You know, it makes the idea of being able to hit the ground running almost impossible to respond to wars like this that break out. You know, it's very difficult. Let's go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day I hope you will donate to support our movement, because the truth is, time is running out. We're in the final lap of this race, and Election Day will be here before you and I know it. So I need you to act now so your donation can have the greatest impact. The stakes in this election could not be higher, and we cannot throw up our hands when we must roll up our sleeves. Let's get to work.
The Olympics give us examples of unparalleled athleticism, feats of human flexibility that defy imagination. But there's one man whose superhuman flexibility is unparalleled. That man is J.D. Vance. Just watch as J.D. Vance flips on his most passionately held beliefs.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Tonight, we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America.
Unbelievable! Do you believe in miracles? Okay, here we see J.D. Vance trying the technically complex and difficult move of dodging his comments about women.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies. As a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Of course, for a whole host of reasons, it's not going to work out for some people. We should pray for those people.
Oh, incredible! Just incredible! Can you believe he does all this from the comfort of his couch? Wow! Just wow! J.D. Vance, the undisputed champion of intellectual dishonesty.
It's never the Republicans who ever bring up race.
Is she Indian or is she black? She was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
This woman, this disaster whose only qualification was having a vagina and the right skin color.
Either Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl.
She's never earned or won anything.
Pimp's trying to find a woman that's weak. You know what I mean, man? Jive turkey?
That's not how I remember Kamala Harris speaking. That sounded a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more jive to me.
Kamala Harris is a JV player. She is a DEI pick.
She was a DEI hire.
The DEI vice president.
She would be the queen of DEI if she were elected.
Affirmative action. You're selected because of the melanin in the content in your skin.
Is it possible that she's getting whiter?
Whiter?
Yeah.
I think they've been.
Have you seen her lately? Like, it is weird. It's like she's like a biracial werewolf. Just.
I've noticed she started wearing.
Straightening.
She's a DEI hire, right? She's a woman. She's colored, therefore she's got to be good.
So racist.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, "Sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal."
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by rape.
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela? It's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words.
The failing New York Times by anonymous, really anonymous.
Struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas, detached from reality.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
All right. I was, this morning, when I wake up, the first thing I do is I check the news of the day, or things that might have happened during the night while I was sleeping, okay? Because the other side of the world is having daytime and a lot of things are going on, right? So, anyway, I was reading some stuff, and then I came across this, this little article here about McDonald's, and the idea that their Big Macs have shrunk like almost 40% over the last few years. Okay, I think I noticed that was going on after the pandemic was sort of kind of what we thought was over, I guess, and I noticed that restaurants like McDonald's and all them were I guess McDonald's was the worst. I mean, they cut their menu in half, and they jacked their prices up. Okay, they were price gouging us at McDonald's. Okay, so there's this fellow who claimed he worked at McDonald's back in the 90s, and says that the sandwiches are still the same today as they were back then when he worked at McDonald's. I said, well, I responded, and this was on Quora, by the way, the website that I'm a member of. So I said, well, I'm probably a little bit older than you are, and I go back even further from eating at McDonald's, and I can tell you that not only has the prices gone up considerably since then, okay, but the food and the amount of the food they give you has changed. Okay, it's shrunk, and McDonald's isn't the only one doing that right now. Okay, there are other, like Subway, Burger King, they're all doing the same thing. They're shrinking down the size of the sandwiches and stuff that they make. Okay, now if you go online and you type in McDonald's shrinking, you're going to find a whole shitload of articles about this very subject, and you're going to find all kinds of people making videos doing comparison shots of the burgers today as opposed to what they used to look like, and so I think all this kind of got the attention of McDonald's corporate, and they tried to put out a statement saying that we cut the fat out of the meat, the hamburgers are more lean, and we haven't changed anything with that. But people have said, these burgers, the meat used to hang out off the sides and stuff like that, and they used to be bigger, plump, when you get it. But now, it's not like that anymore. In fact, they fit much more easily into those cardboard cartons that they use now than they used to. And they haven't shrank the size of the cartons. So, you can't deceive people by telling everybody you're wrong, what you're seeing, right? I see it. I know thousands of other people have seen it. Okay, you're going to tell everybody that they're just imagining that? Of course, you can't convince that. I mean, they try to convince people all the time that what they saw isn't really happening, right? MAGA's good for that. I mean, all the time they're out there telling people, that's not what I saw, you know. But they're trying to convince people that everything's fine. Well, here's the thing. This year, McDonald's launched a campaign here saying we're bringing back the Big Mac. Okay? Question. If the Big Mac was always there, as you say it was, and it hasn't changed, then why are you saying you're bringing it back? Isn't that as much as admitting that yes, we have fucked with the Big Mac? It hasn't been the same as it's always been. Then that just verifies what people have been saying, right? That those sandwiches are getting smaller. Now, let's go to another restaurant, Subway. You know, I like eating there. But I noticed after the fucking pandemic, those fucking foot-long that bread, it's still a foot long if you measure it. However, the circumference of that foot long has thinned considerably. Okay, it's shrunk. And I noticed when I asked, you know, to have a turkey sandwich and stuff like that, they're having a hard time stuffing that thing and closing it like they used to do when they cut it. They can't do it. You know, I watched them. One time they actually tried to cut it and all the shit fell out of it. And they had to make a whole new sandwich after they dropped what I was, you know. That never happened before at Subway. They always had plenty of room inside that fucking sub to put all the stuff I wanted in there. But now they can't. So that proves that the bread itself has actually diminished in size. But the cost of it has gone up. Okay. Now, I only eat there with the coupons that they have, okay? I use the coupons, so I save money. But if you go in there and you eat without a coupon, it's a little bit more than it used to be. Burger King, yeah, it's shrunk. However, they give you a shitload of coupons every couple of months to use to eat there, and you save a lot of money that way, okay? But yes, they have altered you know, their Whoppers and stuff like that. They've changed the size of that. They're not as thick as they used to be. Okay, it just reminds me of that movie. What the hell was the name of that with Douglas Moore or Michael Douglas? I'm sorry, Michael Douglas in it. Falling Down. That was the name of that movie, Falling Down, where he goes into a fast food restaurant and he orders a womlet or whatever the hell it was. And they give it to him. And he says, "Look at this sorry sash thing." Okay, that's kind of what, you know, I think a lot of people are going through right now with these fast food places. And you know, here's the thing: if people, let's just say for a minute that everybody's wrong. Okay, let's just speculate that everybody's wrong about what they're seeing. If people are not satisfied with what they're getting for their money, why shit on them and say they're lying about what they're seeing? Do you want to piss off your customers so they don't come back? No. You always, if you're a businessman, the customer is always right. The customer is always right, because you don't want to lose money in your business. You want to keep bringing it in. So if the people are not happy with what they're getting, then you have to give them what they want. All right? If they want the prices to come down so they'll come back, you know, more frequently, then lower your fucking prices. If the sandwiches aren't big enough to their satisfaction, then you make those fucking sandwiches bigger. Okay? You want people to come back. That's the whole thing about a restaurant, is you don't want to piss anybody off. One restaurant in Bangor here did that to me, and I'll never eat there again. It was the first time I ever walked into that fucking store, in that restaurant rather. Buffalo Wings, whatever the hell they call that dump. Okay, I went in there. That place was practically empty. There was hardly anybody in there. It was just people sitting at the bar. But all the tables were practically empty. There was only, I think there was maybe two tables had people at it. The rest of it was empty. I walked in the front door, waited for the waitress to seat me. She comes up and said, she looked around and says, "Oh, I'm afraid we're full. We can't seat you." I was like, "What?" This place is empty. There's nobody here, and you're telling me you can't seat me? I just turned around and walked out. Never went back there again. I don't know what the hell their problem was. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't fucking know. Okay, I tell this story to a lot of people and they can't even understand why they did that to me. But I'll never go back there again. You see, the customer is always right. They could have had a customer that day. They lost money. And they'll never have my money because that one incident that they did. That's why I'm saying the customer's always right. If you're running a business, because you're there to please the customer. You're not there to please your bottom line. Okay? You know, if people are not happy, they're not going to come back. And then, you know, your bottom line that you were so worried about before is going to crack open and fall right through the goddamn cellar. Okay? It's you know, you can't do this. You can't do this. McDonald's, Burger King, Subway. You people need to understand you're there to make money from the customer. The customer, when they come in, wants what they want. All right? Trying to cut corners and tell people they're lying about what they think, what they're seeing. Okay, that's not the way you treat a customer. Those people won't come back. Okay? If you're making them feel like they're deluded or something like that, you're pissing people off. You know what I'm saying? That's not good business right there. So you need to change your tactic. You need to change your act. You need to go back to the way things were. The pandemic is over. Okay? People are not staying indoors all the time. All right? They want to eat food and stuff like that at your restaurant, then you give them the goddamn food and you don't hose them for the fucking food that they're eating. Simple as that. Now, let's go to the news here. Megyn Kelly couldn't help it, trying to make herself relevant again. Remember, she used to be on Fox here, and she was one of those people that bitched because she got sexually harassed or whatever. Okay, and remember, she went to NBC, you know, for a while, and then they got rid of her because of her mouth. All right, so anyway, she put her foot in her mouth again, and here's a story about that here, published, what's today? Published today. Okay. Megyn Kelly under fire. Racist DNC comment sparks backlash from political experts. Okay, Megyn Kelly, a former Fox News host and now a prominent conservative commentator, found herself at the center of a heated controversy following her remarks during the first night of the Democratic National Convention. The incident has sparked widespread criticism from political experts, journalists, and commentators who have labeled her comments as racially insensitive, reigniting discussions on the role of race in American discourse. The uproar began when Kelly took to X, formerly known as Twitter. X. Why do they always go to X? Okay, to comment on a speech by Laphonza Butler, the newly appointed senator from California, who succeeded the late Dianne Feinstein. Butler, like Vice President Kamala Harris, is a graduate of a historically black college or university. HBCU effect she proudly highlighted during her address at the DNC. However, Kelly's reaction to Butler's celebration of her HBCU background drew immediate backlash. Kelly's post questioned the significance of Butler's and Harris's educational backgrounds by drawing an unfounded comparison to predominantly white institutions. Her comment implied that acknowledging one's HBCU education was analogous to a white person proclaiming pride in attending a majority white university. This remark was quickly condemned by many as racially insensitive and ignorant of the historical context behind HBCUs. Prominent journalists and political commentators did not hesitate to voice their disapproval. Longtime journalist Joan Walsh was among the first to criticize Kelly's statement, suggesting that Kelly's comment was indicative of a broader misunderstanding or deliberate ignorance of America's racial history. Other voices, such as the Atlantic's Norman Ornstein and the Bulwark's Tim Miller, were even more direct, labeling Kelly's comment as embarrassing and racist. The backlash was not limited to media figures. Many pointed out that historically black colleges and universities were founded out of necessity during a time when African Americans were systematically excluded from existing institutions of higher education. The legacy of HBCUs is deeply intertwined with the fight for civil rights and equal access to education, making Kelly's remarks particularly offensive to those who understand this history. The criticism of Kelly's comments also drew attention to the broader societal issue of racial disparities in education. Many of her detractors emphasized the importance of recognizing and celebrating the achievements of HBCU graduates, particularly in a society where access to education has historically been unequal. They argued that Kelly's comments reflected a fundamental misunderstanding of why institutions like Jackson State University, attended by Senator Butler, and Howard University, attended by Vice President Harris, are significant not just for their alumni, but for the progress they represent in the ongoing struggle for racial equality. The National Museum of African American History and Culture and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund have long highlighted the vital role that HBCUs play in providing educational opportunities for African Americans who were once legally denied access to education. Kelly's remarks, seen as dismissive in this legacy, have further ignited conversations about the importance of understanding and respecting the historical contexts that shape American society. As the backlash against Kelly continues to unfold, it underscores the ongoing challenges of navigating discussions on race in America. Her comments have not only sparked a significant controversy, but also serve as a reminder of the deep-seated issues that still permeate public discourse on race, education, and history. You know, in all of that, basically what they're saying is, Megyn Kelly, you need to read your history. Okay, you shouldn't be out there, telling people to ban books. Okay, you need to start reading some of these fucking books that you support banning. Okay, and history is one of those things. White people never had to fight and struggle to get to a fucking college. All right, fact. It's also fact that black people couldn't get into a college that was only accepting white people, so they had to make their own goddamn colleges in order to get an education. Fact. So when somebody goes up on the stage, and say that I graduated from an HBCU college, okay, that's not saying, you're denigrating the white people, okay? White people don't have to brag, or anything like that, okay? They graduate colleges, fine, okay? But the fact that a black person graduated from a college that it was founded on getting black people education, that's an important thing. That's an important thing for them, and these people should be proud of that. That in our society, even in today's society, black people are going to be overlooked if they try to get into a white man's college, if that's how you want to talk about it. Okay, they're going to be overlooked. They're going to take the white guy over the black guy any day of the week. Okay, and they're not supposed to do that, but they do it. They fucking do it. Racial discrimination, they do this all the fucking time. They're not supposed to, but they do. And the people, the conservatives on the right, they want it to be that way. They want it to go like that. Okay, and I just, it's very upsetting when you hear somebody like Megyn Kelly go on here and say something as ignorant as that. I mean, if she wants to be a journalist and she wants to be relevant, you've got to take the time to know the facts. She opened her mouth without really thinking about what she was going to say. She's good at that. She runs her fucking mouth all the time. I knew a few people in my life that were like that, okay? They don't think before they speak. Okay? And that's the reason why, she's out in the wilderness of the internet trying to shout her way back into relevance again. Megyn, you had your time, okay, and it's over. You need to find another career. Don't do this. I know you got a talent to run your mouth. You admitted that. I don't know where I heard it, but you even said it yourself. Okay? You think that makes you a person that should be a commentator. You're wrong. Just because you know how to yak doesn't mean you got a talent to do journalism or be a commentator or something like that. You know, it takes a certain level of intelligence to be able to be a commentator, you know, like Robert Reich or somebody like that, to come out and say so. You got to know something about America, for one thing. You got to understand how it works, where the flaws are. But you think you can just wing this because you got a gift to gab. Okay? You took the wrong lesson. You learned the wrong lesson about that. I don't know where you learned it. I think maybe you watched too much of that talk shows or whatever growing up. Maybe that's why you think that, you know, these people, they're not smart, but that they can have a show. You probably think Oprah Winfrey just, you know, does this, you know, because she's not intelligent. Well, you're wrong there too. Okay, all these people understand the truth of our society, and that's what makes them good commentators, because when they speak and they talk about the difficulties of this country, people understand it because they're going through it. You, on the other hand, it doesn't sound like you really understand the history and the current problems in our country, because you make these generalizations like you do, and people look at you like, are you fucking nuts? Okay? You could get away with that at Fox News because that's why you were there. They knew you had a good gift to gab. That's all they wanted you for. They didn't ask you to be and sit in front of the camera because you had any brains. All right, they wanted you there because you could argue, you can bitch and get all that and stuff, and be a real pain in the ass to the left wing. But guess what? When you tried to make it, you know, in the other media outlets, nobody wanted you because they said, look, you're bringing your attitude and your bullshit comments here. We don't do that. We don't accept that here. Okay, your credentials are not valid. Whoever, you know, what you think you are. You didn't, you know, I don't know how the hell you got where you are, but you really didn't get there because of any studying or anything like that. You got there because they were looking for a person, the looks, the mouth, okay? Just like all the other people that work on Fox, that's all they look for. Bill O'Reilly, all them, they no brains, but they got a big mouth. That's all they wanted. People that can gaslight you. You were one of those people, and that's all you're ever going to be. Because until you smarten the hell up, nothing you say is really going to matter anymore to people. You're not relevant. You're just not relevant. So, you know, really, I mean, just stop it, Megan. You know, find another job. Find another career. Christ almighty. You know, or go back to school or something. Do something with yourself. But be a better person. You know, Jesus. All right, anyway, enough about that, because I want to watch more DNC convention. And so anyway, subscribe, comment, and share, and please keep your ears open for health-related issues. Treat each other nice out there, okay? Be kind, and I will talk to you again maybe later, you know, probably after the convention is over. I'll see you then. Take care.